The rain had been falling since dawn, turning the city's narrow service roads into shallow rivers of mud and trash. Most people hurried past with their collars raised, eyes fixed on their phones or the promise of warmth ahead. No one noticed the thin brown dog crouched beneath a broken billboard near an abandoned warehouse. No one except Ariv Mehta. Ariv was a billionaire, though very few people around him ever used that word. He dressed simply, drove himself, and avoided the spotlight whenever possible. At 46, he had built a global logistics empire from nothing, starting as a delivery boy who memorized routes faster than anyone else. To the world, Ariv was known for discipline, precision, and ruthless efficiency. To his employees, he was respected, sometimes feared. Compassion was not the first trait people associated with him. That morning, Ariv wasn't heading to a boardroom. He was driving alone, thinking. A recent deal had closed successfully, yet instead of satisfaction, he felt an unfamiliar emptiness. He had won again, but for what? As he slowed at a traffic signal, something caught his eye. Under the billboard, the dog lifted her head weakly. Her ribs were visible, her fur matted with rain. When she shifted, a faint whimper followed. Ariv looked closer and saw them, tiny shapes pressed against her belly. Puppies. Newborns. The signal turned green. Cars behind him honked. Ariv hesitated for half a second. Then he pulled over. He stepped out into the rain, ignoring the looks from passers-by. As he approached, the mother dog growled softly, not in aggression, but fear. She tried to shield her puppies with what little strength she had left. One of the puppies wasn't moving much. Ariv crouched slowly, keeping his distance. He had negotiated billion-dollar contracts, faced hostile takeovers, survived betrayals. Yet this moment made his chest tighten more than any boardroom battle ever had. "Easy," he murmured, though he wasn't sure why. "I'm not here to hurt you." The dog's eyes told a story words never could. She had trusted before, and she had paid for it. Ariv took off his coat and gently laid it a few feet away to create some shelter. He called his driver, then a nearby veterinarian he knew through a charity his company funded, one he rarely visited in person. Within 20 minutes, help arrived. The puppies, 6 of them, were carefully placed into a warm crate. The mother dog resisted at first, panicking when her babies were moved, but Ariv stayed beside her, steady and calm. Eventually, she allowed it. At the clinic, the diagnosis was clear. Severe malnutrition, dehydration, infection. The vet shook her head. "She's been abandoned for weeks. Someone dumped her here after realizing she was pregnant." Ariv felt a quiet anger rise. Not loud, not explosive, but sharp. He had seen this kind of abandonment before, just in different forms. Partners discarded when they were no longer useful. Workers replaced without a second thought. People treated like liabilities. He stayed until the mother dog stabilized. He watched as one puppy, the weakest, struggled to breathe. Without thinking, Ariv held the tiny life in his hands, warming it, whispering encouragement as if the puppy could understand. The puppy survived. That night, Ariv went home, but something had changed. His mansion felt larger than usual, emptier. He couldn't stop thinking about the dog, about how she had protected her puppies with everything she had, even when the world had turned its back on her. The next morning, Ariv returned to the clinic. He began visiting every day. At first, it was silent observation. Then small actions, bringing better food, arranging medical care, asking questions. The staff noticed something unusual. This wasn't a billionaire donating money to ease his conscience. This was a man investing time. Weeks passed. The puppies grew stronger. Their eyes opened, their tails wagged. The mother dog, now named Asha, meaning hope, started trusting again. She wagged her tail when Ariv arrived, a cautious joy replacing fear. One evening, as Ariv sat on the clinic floor with Asha resting beside him, a thought struck him with startling clarity. This is what real wealth looks like. Not numbers on a screen, not headlines, but responsibility. Asha hadn't abandoned her puppies when survival became hard. She adapted, she endured, she protected. Even when she had nothing, she gave everything. That, Ariv realized, was the true billionaire mindset. The world often misunderstood wealth. People thought billionaires were defined by greed, accumulation, and power. But the ones who lasted, the ones who built legacies, understood something deeper. A billionaire mindset isn't about having more. It's about becoming more. It's about long-term thinking. About not discarding what's inconvenient. About investing in what can't immediately repay you. Ariv began applying this realization everywhere. At work, he changed policies that treated employees as replaceable. He invested in training instead of constant hiring. Productivity rose. Loyalty followed. In business, he shifted from short-term profit grabs to sustainable partnerships. Some deals grew slower, but they grew stronger. And with Asha and her puppies, he made a decision that surprised everyone. He adopted them. Not all at once. Some puppies went to carefully chosen homes, but Asha stayed. 2 puppies stayed with her. The billionaire who owned multiple properties now woke up earlier than ever to walk a former stray dog. People laughed quietly at first. Media outlets tried to turn it into a soft story. But Arif didn't care, because every morning, as he watched Asha guide her puppies, correcting them gently when they wandered too far, he saw a lesson no business school had ever taught him. Protect your core. Nurture your future. Don't abandon what depends on you. Asha didn't know she had changed a billionaire. She didn't know about empires or net worth. She only knew survival, love, and responsibility. And that was enough. 1 year later, Arif launched a foundation focused on abandoned animals and vulnerable communities. But unlike his earlier charities, this one wasn't run by managers and reports alone. He was involved. Present. In his inaugural speech, he said something that went viral. The world doesn't lack intelligence or ambition. It lacks commitment. True wealth is measured by what you refuse to abandon when things get difficult. The image that accompanied the article wasn't of Arif in a suit. It was of him sitting on the floor, laughing, as Asha's puppies climbed over him. The moral of the story is simple, yet powerful. Kindness is not weakness. Responsibility is not a burden. Compassion is not the opposite of success. It is the foundation of lasting success. A billionaire mindset is not about stepping over the vulnerable to climb higher. It's about lifting what's been abandoned, and rising together. And sometimes, the greatest lessons don't come from mentors or markets. They come from a mother dog in the rain who refused to give up.